What's up, all sins and commandments alike? This is Griever, your host as always, bringing you episode 9 of Nanatsu no Taizai's latest season. Now, actually, guys, I just finished reviewing the episode 8, which I was very behind on, and then I just happenstance I started to watch episode 9 and really wanted to review it right away. So I had some free time, so let's just do it. Let's get on with it so I'm not so behind anymore. This episode opens up with a few, just basically the recap of the last episode, and there was one thing that I did not note in the last episode, that really struck a chord with me, and it's Liz's expression. Liz's expression here is like she knows. It's so sad, so telling. Like Meliodas' expression is good, but right here it just seems like she knows. She knows it's a trial. Like just the initial, just that one shot. Like, I'm sorry you have to do this. I'm sorry. Like she knows everything that's going to happen, knows what he's gone through, knows what he's going to go through. Like her spirit or her soul is there and kind of sorry. You know, like just I'm sorry type of. It just something about it. Like the art style, once again, I'm really glad that this is not one of those animes where they tweak the art style too much. But this one they don't. They really keep it pretty much exact as far as they can to the original manga, and this is one of those times where it's just like perfect. So we jump into the intro and then we get back and we see there's a couple of manga changes, not very many in this episode. I know that I didn't really talk about manga changes in the last episode, but there wasn't really a whole lot. This is basically an OVA, almost shot for shot of the manga chapters, along with the fact that we see that Melisukla clearly did something and is talking to Galen about it. We see Bon and Jericho talking about reviving dead people for a bit, but that's basically it. That goes nowhere until the later part of the episode. So we get the fact that they're in that trial. They're in the trial, and I liked... Okay. Zenari. I learned her name. Zenari. Probably still not pronouncing it right. But she... So she gives Elizabeth a goblet that has a seed in it with a disease that will not grow, and trying to teach her the art of healing. This is her trial. But why does she have to do the trial right next to Meliodas? This seems really convenient for me. I would complain about this in the manga. I'm complaining about it now. Like, they took the two of them, even though they're all doing their separate training, took the two of them in there together to do two totally different trials, not related to each other. Don't get it. Especially with what we will learn later about these trials. So, not going to spoil anything for you anime-only watchers or viewers, but that was... It seems like just plot armor or plot convenience, really. Plot convenience is a better way to say it. Now, this is a really emotional scene. I was really looking forward to this, but I think I overhyped myself. I reread the chapters that coincide with this episode, and I was getting really excited for this episode to be animated and like pump, let's do it. And was initially disappointed. Disappointed, guys. Like, shot for shot from a manga doesn't actually work on screen. I know a lot of people complain when movies and TV shows and animes do adaptations of their favorite books, comics, mangas, and it's not the exact same. But that's because it does not actually translate perfectly onto the big screen. It does not translate perfectly onto film. It just doesn't. And this is one of those times. In the manga, this look was so dramatic, so emotional, so heart-wrenching. And it wasn't until the later half of the scene. So let's just go over it. So Meliodas has to relive his last day with Liz, or simply, it's kind of left a little ambiguous, but days with Liz up until her death, and then it always jumps over to her death and him losing his shit, losing control, and destroying all of Danafor. That's what we know about this from the first season. This is what happened. This is what he did. He betrayed the woman he loved or whatever, and that's what they think, and destroyed all of Danafor, killing plenty of people. Now, he has to relive this over and over and over, and he can't take it. Okay, I get that. Once again, if you guys have followed my manga reviews, there's a whole nother topic about this and why specifically, but once again, this is anime. I'm trying to watch this just as I read the manga chapters related, and I'm watching the anime episode, so I'm trying to keep it spoiler free and just watching it for what it is. Now, in the manga, this was done very emotionally, each panel meant something, and they tried to play on that, but this is an episode that I felt did not need to go scene by scene, but needed to fluff, needed to embellish. Now, I don't know if they're on a time restraint, but for example, let's say you end off the Meliodas end of this, and that's the end of the episode, where Meliodas is finished his trial, and that's the end of the episode. Well, we had about 5 to 7 minutes of Bon and Jericho. Push it to the next one. This is an opportunity for emotion, for fluff, for really getting us to feel, bringing a little more musical score, bringing in a few more emotional moments, bringing some solid, if you need to animate, I know fight scenes are important in a shonen battle manga, I get it, but the second thing in any manga, don't care what genre, that needs to be well animated and really give it your 110 is the emotional scenes. The scenes that build a character, especially scenes where male characters cry. Not giving anything bad shit about female characters, but where a male character, a strong male imposing, men don't cry, the stereotype and all that stuff. When you see the manly, powerful man, the strongest man. I mean, could you guys imagine? Let's look at a few things. Let's look at a few characters here. Whitebeard. Okay, let's look at Whitebeard crying. Any of you want that scene to just be one panel of him crying and then give up? No good musical score, no good revelation, no build up to that. You just want to see Whitebeard crying? How does it mean anything anymore? Whitebeard is the manliest of men, a fan favorite. Shanks. Let's use Shanks. Let's use Bond. Let's see Bond crying. You know, from, once again, Seven Deadly Sins. Let's see, oh God, what's another really popular series? There's ones in Toriko. You could see Ichiru crying or something like that. Like, you really need, when you make a character cry, and not the crybaby characters, but when you make a character cry, when Vegeta cries, perfect, that's an even better example, Vegeta. When Vegeta cries, it has to be meaningful. It has to be important. And we're talking an anime that was around in the 90s, early 90s, you know. We're talking, like, the story, like, now there's way more pressure on manga and anime to be better than that. They can't just be so simple. Like, you go back and watch Dragon Ball Z and tell me that people of today would not complain this shit. Look at all the complaints about Dragon Ball Super, which really, I mean, I've got my own complaints about that, but really, how is it any less or more than what Dragon Ball Z was? Like, it's bad guys are taking over because they're bad guys. And it's a fighting manga, so Goku and Vegeta fight people. Like, it's not meant to be super. This is not Death Note, people. I don't get. This is not Full Metal Alchemist. This is not One Piece. Why do people try to add that? It's because the stakes are higher nowadays because this has become mainstream. So the stakes become higher. Now, I say all this, but I still want to see it. In the same way that people complained about the Dragon Ball Super animation, and I did too. This was not badly animated. It's just the fact that it was shot scene for scene and we had more screen caps with a filter rather than true. And I do not count someone jumping through the air and you see ha 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 ha. That is not animation. That is, I could do that in Flash. I could take a screen capture, I could edit 3 frames of hair moving and then 2 more frames of it moving down, and I could loop it and add a musical score and a filter to it. I could brightness and contrast and in Adobe or Fireworks or whatever you use, and boom, I've got that scene. That is not the point of making an emotional scene. The scene should not have been a PowerPoint slideshow. The scene should have been raw emotion. This is where they should have fluffed it. 7 minutes. He had 7 minutes. Screw the Bond and Jericho shit. Even though I'm interested in that story, this was a time to embellish, time to bring out more emotion and more scenes, and especially when they skipped. Now, all right. I've ranted long enough about the first half, what I didn't like. The second half, when the music started to pick up and we really got the feeling, okay, he's relived this, and then he's pulled back by Zenaria, and she says, if you don't throw away your emotions, this is not going to end well. You're a rage demon of sorts. You thrive on it. You are the incarnation of wrath. You will keep losing your shit, and if I give you your main power back, you will literally destroy not only cities, but whole countries at this point. You are too volatile, and it's not possible. What if something like Liz's death happens again? We can't take that chance. You'll destroy the world. Even if you're on the good guy's side, you can't control it. It's no good to us. So Meliodas regrets this and actually gets very frustrated with himself, and in the manga, he slams the ground with his fists and screams, "Damn it." Now, he doesn't really seem to do this. Maybe I missed that. But I was picturing in the anime for them to embellish this, like for him to go, "Damn it, create a crater," and just continuously punch the ground. Like, here's where, once again, you add a little bit for him to continuously pound this. We know Meliodas' strength, so he would make cracks in this rock, but damn it, and to see his knuckles start bleeding, and he keeps punching until Elizabeth comes up and stops him. The moment Elizabeth introduces herself with, "It's okay," no, that's not how it should have gone. It should have been the hand on the shoulder to stop him from slamming his fist and hurting himself into the ground. Way more emotion by doing that. And then Elizabeth's scene, this should have been I'm not complaining once again about the artwork. I'm complaining the fact that this should have been a crazily well done artwork shot, or some type of rotation shot or something of Elizabeth just going, "It's okay, we won't find fault with you." And when we see the shot when Meliodas looks at Elizabeth and you see tears in her eyes and she's fine with him, she's like, "It's okay," like comforting him, that was really emotional in the manga. And it wasn't like it was an end of a chapter scene, which is always well drawn, like more imposing, more badass. This was midway through this chapter. So if a mangaka can put that much effort into making a really nice full page beautiful scene, not a double spread and not the end of a chapter, because you want people to get hyped, but put it in the middle, why can't they do that in an anime episode? It was lackluster compared to the manga, and this is why I regret almost rereading the chapter based on this. Now, after this point, that's the end of my complaints, because the rest of it, once again, I said the musical score was really, really good. Can't wait for that. I'm really hoping the English actors, because I do speak English, not Japanese, so maybe if I hear the dub, the scene will mean a lot more, or will have way more emotion behind the voices. But usually I can tell with the emotion, and I don't have a problem with the voice actors. It's just something about this, guys. Something about this. It lost everything I was hoping for this episode. It really did. I was just... I don't know, guys. I don't know. What do you guys think in the comment section below? Maybe I've ranted way too long about this. I don't know, but I just finished watching this episode starting with a hype and just ended on a flat. Like, this is being on a high note. This is like being like super happy, let's go, it's 1 in the morning, who gives a shit, let's party all night, and this is 5 a.m. This is 5 a.m. By halfway through this episode, I was already crashing to 5 a.m. Why did I drink so much? I can't go to work tomorrow, my boss is going to yell at me, I have a headache, this sucks, I'm puking in a toilet, life sucks. That is the level difference from the beginning of this episode to this point in the episode. And I was not happy with it. And even, it was almost like, okay, you get to that point, then you hear the musical score, and the next half where he starts to realize after the whole Elizabeth, coaxes him to go back into the trial. He goes back into the trial, and he starts, he tries to forget about her and forget about his life and stuff. And the music is really good, and he's just, no way in hell is it that easy. I'm like, good, we added some dynamics. It's not just an easy fix, like just forget about it, because you can't forget about the people you love. Great theme to have. And the emotion picks up a little more. We see a little more, and I'm like, okay, the second half of this is okay. Past the Elizabeth coaxing him to go back and do the trial a few more times, that's when it picks up, the music and starts up, and things get really good. And then he starts crying and stuff. Now, the crying scene could have been done a little better, but I'm not unhappy with it. I think it was done okay. He comes back from the trial and realizes, he just won't let it happen again. He'll try his best to protect the people he loves this time. That he's got to accept her death and can't just rage quit every time. He's got to be GG about this and keep going on. And I really like that aspect. I love the scene in the manga. I like this character development. So that's basically what happens here. He goes on to say like, okay, yo, I'm done. What's up? We cut over to the other priestess, forget her name, and all the other characters. We see that Hendrickson's been training there, and she's going to send them all into the cave for training very, very soon. We see that Griever, Gil Thunder, and Hauser are also all here. So, and they're fried to a crisp, according to Hawk. So, yeah, so comedic element there. Next half of the episode, once again, this was a clusterfuck of emotions, so I'm not hugely happy about really reviewing this part. I really wish this was the next episode we started, because now I don't have the hype. I've been crushed by the lacklusterness that I had hoped would be so great in this episode, and it wasn't. So I have notes here, guys. Was there any complaints? No, there was no complaints here about the Bond and Jericho stuff. They go to the City of Ravens looking for a way to revive the dead. No one knows about it. They're in a tavern, and of course it's cutthroat. It's all that stuff. Now, when they go to the inn, when they leave the streets and go to the inn to find a room for the night, that's when it's very reminiscent. This whole thing is feeling very Pirates of the Caribbean to me, and especially the music they play here in the inn scene. To me, it reminds me of very Davy Jones' Locket, the piano music, but not the piano itself, but the locket that both himself and Calypso had, that played the little tune inside the little heart locket. That to me was really, really, it was kind of not a callback, but it just seemed really good like that. I like the music, I like the scene, and I like how the tone shift, the colors and everything is very dark and dank and stuff, and they really captured what a slug kind of slum city would be like. All these broken windows and open glass and open concepts. No one's really safe. No one's really, that kind of mentality. No one's pretty. The only shiny thing is Jericho's armor, really. Everything's by candlelight. It's really, it was well done. It was well shot. We cut over to the fact that they go to the room and stuff, and then when they're talking about the fact that Bond was raised there, we see an old somebody getting beaten up in the alleyway and stuff, and Bond says not to get involved, but the bandits talk about someone who's been the monster that's been reviving the dead. So now he's intrigued. He knocks out the three guys and picks up this straggler, this stranger, on his shoulder, jumps back into the room. Jericho goes, "What are you doing?" He throws the stranger at the wall, but the stranger manages to leap onto the wall like Spider-Man and jump down, and it's revealed that they're a werefox. So now we're introduced to the fact that there are beast people in Seven Deadly Sins. Okay, cool. This must go somewhere, right? Right? That being said, we do get introduced to this character who is clearly... Now, I expected this person to have gray or white or graying, maybe some gray strands, because this person is supposed to be at least, I would say, at least 65 years old. Got to be at least 65. I would push it. I don't know, I didn't check the age beforehand, but I would say this person has to be at least 65, if not a few hundred years. I'm not sure about the what a werefox. This person is revealed to be a werefox. Now, really cool concept. thieving, kind of like the Khajiit in Skyrim sort of mentality. Like cats and foxes are more sneaky and more like quick and stuff like that. And speaking of cats, hello little boy. But yeah, so that's a cool concept to keep, but I didn't check the age of this character, so I'm not sure, but this person has to be at least that old, so I'm not surprised by the whole, he says he's on death's door and stuff, and Bond tells Jericho to give him the bed, and then we reminisce about, he talks about how humans don't understand this stuff, and then we cut over to Bond as a child, trying to steal, being very bad at it, and getting beaten a lot and stuff, and eventually gets thrown in prison alongside this strange man, and who gives him looks like a raw potato or something, some form of food that he eats, and he's talking very disrespectfully to him, like, my name's Bond, what the hell? And he says, okay, well, Bond, you have angry eyes for a kid, but what's your name, Bond? And he says, well, I'm Zhivago, nice to meet you, sort of thing. And that's where it cuts, that's where it ends. So hopefully we keep on the Bond Jericho story. I don't mind the fact, except for this episode, because I felt like this episode needed the fluff, needed more thoughts put into it. As I already stated, not going to go into that can of worms again. But I feel like this next episode needs to spend time on the whole Bond backstory, and I hope we get right from the past to the present conclusion in the next episode. But I do not mind the fact that they cut between the Bond Jericho story and the Seven Deadly Sins Meliodas side of things, and then cutting over in between to the Ten Commandments sort of deal, because then it's all going to mesh up very nicely. It would really suck if it did like the manga, where we had 5, 6, 10, 12 chapters all following Meliodas, then you had the next 10 following Bond. People who, for example, don't like Bond, who are you? But that being said, the people who do not like Bond and do not like this side of the storyline, for those of you who have already read the manga, would be very bored with the next 3 or 4 episodes as a result. So I like the fact that they're cutting between. They have something for everyone. Anybody who's watching this season, has a character they love, or multiple characters they love, a storyline they love, and at least you can't skip an episode to watch it. So it's a good tactic to use, but also it keeps the plot moving along with multiple characters. So that's a really good way to do it. Final thoughts on it. Well, I've already ranted enough, guys, so let's just end the video, because this is getting way too long, and I feel like I jumped way too all over the place at the beginning of the video, but beggars can't be choosers. I'm getting this review out more or less on time, and hopefully the next one will be much more polished than this video. But thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Griever. Like, comment, subscribe, all the usual good shit. Always appreciated. This has been your anime episode review for episode 9 of Nanatsu no Taizai Imashi no Fukatsu, also known as Revival of the Commandments, the latest season. We will see you back here next time, guys, for episode 10. Hoping to get that out sometime next week, and we will see you back here next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.